Hello everybody and welcome to Travel in the Know for a walk around Tashkent. And we are on Independence Square, which is the main square in the city. It's absolutely vast and it's surrounded by monuments, museums, government buildings, parks, a huge fountain for the summer at any rate. It's overwhelming in its scale. I think you've probably got a sense of that as I turn the camera around. Well, the whole of Tashkent has the benefit of huge open spaces and also very long walks between sites, and that's partly because of the massive earthquake in the 1960s which flattened the city but gave Soviet city planners a chance to start again, and that they certainly did. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk everywhere, but I'll certainly show you one or two of the main sites. Let's go. Something else which is rather wonderful about Tashkent is that it's absolutely full of green spaces, which must be magnificent for families in the capital going out for a walk. But you can see here as well, there's plenty of green space, but in the centre of the city, a lot of it seems to be closed off. I expect presidential buildings and governmental buildings. But I still can't get over the monumental scale of this square. And Independence Square obviously marks the fact that Uzbekistan has confidently marched into the 21st century. But formerly, the statue of Lenin was here, somewhere on the square, must have towered over the entire area. And in the Soviet Union, this square was known as Lenin Square. How times change. Directly behind me is the Monument of National Independence. Unfortunately, you can't get anywhere near it, which seems a shame, but it's certainly quite dominant, if only you could get a bit closer to it. Independence Square is absolutely massive, and here is actually the Romanov Palace, believe it or not, built in 1891 for Grand Duke Nikolai Konstantinovich, who'd been exiled to the outskirts of the Russian Empire at the time. Now, the building you can't visit anymore, but it does look rather grand, and it is used on occasion as a reception house for the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Uzbekistan. This square definitely seems to me interesting but somewhat impersonal, so I'm going to head a little bit east to another of the major city squares. See you there. I finally made it to Amir Timur Square. This is again totally monumental. It's on a crazy scale. You have to go through underpasses to get to any square in this city. Honestly, I've been to Moscow, Washington DC, Beijing, all cities that I think are pretty open plan with loads of space. I've never seen anything like this. This is the most spaced out city in the world, of that I'm pretty sure. And goodness, my legs are beginning to feel it, but it's definitely worthwhile. Come on, let's keep going. Amir Timur, strength in justice. Sila, that means strength in Russian. Amir Timur was born in the 1320s and he lived until 1405. He was also known as Tamerlane and was the renowned founder of the Timurid Empire. The Timurid Empire comprised an enormous area around modern-day Afghanistan, Iran and Central Asia, and he was the first ruler of the Timurid dynasty, an undefeated commander, a great military leader and a great tactician as well, but also brutal and deadly. On the other hand, he was also a great patron of art and architecture and introduced the Timurid Renaissance during his reign. I can't resist the opportunity just to take a look in the lobby of the Hotel Uzbekistan and see if it reminds me of those old in-tourist style hotels, perhaps the lattice style of the masonry at the front of the hotel around each room. It's a huge hotel. Would you dare use this pedestrian crossing? There's no underpass. I see no other way around. Gosh, they don't look like they want to stop. Anyhow, over we go. Oh goodness me, I really feel like I'm taking my life into my own hands here, but luckily not too much traffic. I chose just the right moment. Made it. To be straightforward with you, the hotel reception area wasn't interesting, so I didn't bother shooting it. Now, that can't be said for this building here. Look at this pavilion, and believe it or not, it's also a modern building. I'm not quite sure when it was built, but it's not old. It looks old, but it really isn't. and it's a museum which is full of artifacts, art pieces and documentation related to the Timurid Empire, and particularly the time that Amir Timur was in charge of things. It's supposed to be open, but I've got a funny feeling it's shut. I really hope I'm not going to find that everything is closed because it's International Women's Day. Sadly it is closed, so we're not going to see inside the museum. And set in extensive parkland, there really is parkland everywhere here in Tashkent, is the memorial to the fallen of the Second World War. Very movingly in this large colonnade, the name of every citizen of the Uzbek Soviet Socialist Republic who perished in the Second World War is listed and never forgotten. Having walked through the park from the site of the tragic loss of the Second World War, one comes after a few hundred meters to a massive Soviet-era monument remembering that other tragic event in modern Uzbek history, the 1966 earthquake. And this is the Monument of Courage. As this broken block of granite shows us, the earthquake took place on the 26th of April 1966 at 5:22 in the morning. There's no questioning the Soviet origin of this statue. "18,000 steps already. If I'm lucky and my legs carry me, the next stop is the TV tower." Heart-shaped balloons. I think I prefer flowers. But I can't wait to go up the tower. And the price, I think, is pretty fair considering it's 60,000 in local currency, which is just under £4. There aren't many TV towers in the world you can go up for that price. I recognise some of these towers. That's Tokyo on the right, then somewhere in China. Then you've got the Ostankino Tower, looks like it's leaning perilously. Ostankino is in Moscow. And then you've got the CCN Tower from Toronto. The view up here at the top of the TV tower is fantastic. You can see all of the city centre and right into the distance.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Айдос.
Меня зовут Айганым.
Мы из города Туркестан, Казахстан. Мы первый раз сегодня в Ташкенте. Нам очень понравился Ташкент. Нам очень понравился.
Впечатление хорошее.
Хорошее.
Да.
Мы были там внизу, наверху. Ресторан хороший.
И я должен тоже ехать в Туркестан?
Да,
Да,
мы ждем вас.
конечно, да, в гости.
After the TV tower and our new friends from Kazakhstan, something completely different. We're actually heading to the old city of Tashkent, and one of the very few areas that actually survived the earthquake in 1966. This is the Hazrati Imam Complex, and it dates from the 16th to the 20th centuries. It includes the madrasa, which is a school, the Hazrati Imam Mosque, further mosques as well, and an Islamic institute. Hazrati Imam himself was also a master of making locks and keys, apart from his religious value. and he received the nickname Locksmith. According to historical sources, Hazrati Imam was a really gifted guy. He spoke 72 languages and translated the Old Testament, the Torah, into Arabic. The whole appearance of the complex is based on ancient traditions, and this artwork is just so beautiful. On our trip today, we've seen a lot of modern Tashkent, its wide open spaces, so it seems more than appropriate the last stop on our tour of the Uzbek capital should be at the Hazrati Imam Complex of mosques, madrasas. This is a madrasa, a school behind us, the old Oriental Library, and also an Islamic institute. It really is a stunning setting, and it's good to see it that this at least survived the terrible earthquake in 1966. And in fact, the president of Uzbekistan, Islam Karimov, in 2007 determined that the entire site should be restored to its original state, which is one of the reasons why there's quite a lot of building going on here as well, really on a huge scale. But I think it's definitely worth it because the entire site is clearly a hugely valuable part of Central Asian Islamic heritage. And to think that this was also withstood the test of time, the beautiful calligraphy, the design, actually it makes me really want to go to Samarkand and Bukhara as well. But there's no time on this trip. But I can tell you that this makes a significant impression on any and every visitor. I'm sure of that. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as they're going to enjoy their evening. If so, let me recommend a couple of other videos. Up here we've got the visit to the Yerevan Vernissage. That's an incredible market and bazaar in Armenia. And then over here we've got a tour of the market here in Tashkent, the Horsu, which is just an extraordinary experience. Anyhow, thanks ever so much for watching. Please subscribe, ding the bell for notifications, and we'll see you again very soon. Let's keep the adventure going. Goodbye.